just did little things and... Ugh, that was an embarrassing noise. Well, howdy. Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. Holy smokes, it was not all that fun mentally yesterday, and I'm not out of the woods by far, but at least I understand what's happening, and I'll talk more about that because it's a pretty big thing. But before I do that, I did want to say I've been playing more of Dead Island. I went into the 4th act. I'm 96-something% through with the main quest. I'm almost done with the game. Thumbs up for that. It's been weird and fun. I've had some of that clipping zombie stuff happen with the big ones that are tanks. So they rush up, they're halfway inside of you, lose half my health. By the time I stand up, I'm still clipped inside of them, so I'm dead. It's a bunch of janky BS. But it's still a fun game, even with the jank, and I'm almost done, so that's kind of awesome. Definitely a thumbs up on that. And of course, front-loading of the video, thank you YouTube algorithms. Hey, if you could toss me a like, that would be very cool. If you could subscribe to the channel if you haven't, that too would be very awesome. If you could leave me a comment, that would be extremely awesome. I read every single one I get. I thumbs up each and every one. I answer as many as my executive dysfunction will allow. So thumbs up on that. And of course, I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These literally beautiful, literally awesome people are helping to keep me alive. Holy smokes. And I appreciate that to no end. I like living. I don't want to stop living anytime soon. So thank you, each and every one of these people. I know my kitty cat is appreciative. I know my hamster is appreciative. Thank you so much, each and every one of these people. And if you'd like to become a patron, links are in the show more video description, wherever that happens to be on the device you're watching. Thumbs up for that. Yay, front loading a video over. So yeah, I'm almost done. I'm in the prison, I'm doing the stuff that I gotta do, and I'm almost finished with Dead Island, and that's kind of cool. I can count on the fingers of at least no more than 4 hands the number of games I've been able to finish since 1982. So that's kind of cool when I actually finish something. Thumbs up for that. Now, the bad part of life. I gotta talk about this one, and it's gonna be pretty heavy, and I'm kind of sorry if you don't wanna listen to that, but oh boy, I started to really discover what was happening to me yesterday. I have had biochemical depression my whole life. And at 22, I was diagnosed finally and started medication. But I have had, for my early life and for decades after, a very regular depression cycle. I would dip down for 2 weeks and be depressed, and then come back up, and then I'd spend 2 weeks at normal, and then 2 weeks later, boom, back down, and then boom, back up. And then every 2 weeks, that happened for decades. I've been doing that. But ever since I was 22, I have also been periodically medicated for it. And I've gotten a lot older since I was first diagnosed at age 22. Because of the periodic medication, because of age, my once like clockwork schedule has been destroyed. There's more to it than that. I have also been going through therapy. I have been recovering from grief and all this, and I'm doing better than I have, and I've learned how to use... That's very loud outside. I've learned how to use behavioral techniques to help me when I find I'm doing bad things mentally. So that has helped. But I still do have biochemical depression. So there are times when there is no cause, no extrinsic cause. Nothing came in that influenced me to cause me to become depressed. Nothing, no negative thoughts. It's just chemistry has lined up and boom, we're going down. At which point I can't use my behavioral stuff to stop the ride. Because when I can feel the roller coaster ride starting of depression, whoosh, gonna fall down, I can sometimes, I describe it as pulling the emergency brake and then bailing, or opening up the door and jumping out before the ride really starts. What that really is just using behavioral stuff, breaking cycles of negative thoughts, quickly changing subjects and forcing yourself to stay on that to break chains and cycles of negative thoughts. But when you have no negative thoughts to break, how do you do that? I have no negative thoughts when it's this sort of thing. There is no emergency brake to pull. There are no doors that I can open up. This is my biochemistry saying, strap in. So all I can do is make sure the safety belt's on right, that the cushion bars are there, and just hang on and enjoy the ride. I say that because I've been feeling weird all week, and I was not able to exactly pin what's been going on. Yesterday I was finally able to figure it out, because in the morning time, afterward and doing things, I was looking at my YouTube studio stats, for all of my videos. Normally, I feel just, it's like, gosh, I could do this, I could do that, I haven't been able to, or I'm not able to make changes, I can't keep up, it's kind of sad, but, I gotta keep doing what I'm doing, or, some variation, and then hopefully I'll be able to figure it out, or just keep doing what I'm doing, because it's for my mental health. Last night, oh, goodness gracious, this is just really itchy right here, my sincere apologies, I gotta spend time scratching. But last night, yesterday morning, I realized, looking at those stats, that my first feelings were, this is just bad. Maybe I should just delete my channel. Maybe I should just get off YouTube. What am I doing? Why am I even trying? At which point, I went, oh boy, okay, I know exactly what's happening now. And so I just finished the strapping on the safety belts and getting ready for the ride. It had been going downhill for a couple days. It's just yesterday I was noticing that it was picking up speed. And unfortunately, it's the biochemical depression. Not a whole lot I can do about it. And the thing about my cycle is, sure, every 2 weeks it was like this, but I could never tell how far it was going to go, or if it was just going to be really mild. So that was always fun trying to figure it out. My biochemical depression, when the ride starts, sometimes it's mild, sometimes it's a trip down into the absolute depths of hell. So far it hasn't been that bad, but I haven't been able to do a lot of things. I've been working on making sure I'm trying to stay out of the depression mentally, because I don't want to have that on top of the physical part. So last night when I was out walking, I tried to do as much creative thought as I could. But all this week I've been distracted, and now I know why. So I didn't set my mind to work on anything big or heavy. I just chewed on various things that I had been thinking of and made little work bits here, reminded myself of things there, just did little things, and that was an embarrassing noise. And tried my best to just be as creative as possible. So yay on that. So yeah, I didn't really think a whole lot on anything that was happening. I mean, there is some stuff that I thought of course, and I'm always thinking of the Razor's Edge. I'm always working on the various cryptid stuff, because I'm still thinking on that one, working on it. Once again, it's ways to deal with identity and grief and change, because part of it, of course, I was thinking about the character of Daffod Ortega, Daff. Because he's a nice little individual, and I think he really is a nice individual. And think about what it's like if you were born inside or on the Razor's Edge, if you have this cryptid energy and all this. Well, you wouldn't have the energy, you'd have the cryptid chromosomes that go and express when there's no cryptid energy. Because the cryptids need two things to survive. You need the cryptid energy, and you need to absorb the energy, ambient energy, from the quantum knotting from intelligence from people's brains. That is how you passively feed as a cryptid. You don't have both of those, you will perish. So if you're on the inside, if you are on the Razor's Edge and you're a cryptid, you're going to constantly feel like you are having at least a mild asthma attack. You're going to feel short of breath, cramped. You're going to not die, but you're going to feel unpleasant all the time, like you're claustrophobic and it's too tight, because you're getting the quantum knotting energy, but you're not getting that necessary cryptid energy. And so Daff finds out when he goes to visit, he's being pushed out of the inside and being pushed out of the razor's edge because it just feels so claustrophobic. And when he goes to the outside, he can breathe. There's that cryptid energy. He doesn't know he's a cryptid. It takes a time before he finally understands it. But periodically, he would of course go to visit his parents. But once he realized, through James Baker's help, that he was in fact a cryptid, he just stays in contact with his parents through mobile phone and such like that. So, he's a nice guy and he likes to visit his parents, but... and so that works out that way. Yeah, there's this cryptid energy we have out here, and it forms all of the 12 various kinds of cryptid, except of course there's the 13th type of cryptid who they can't absorb any of that stuff passively. That's why they have to devour human beings. Ugh. Also thinking about how, there's brain changes and all this, and why you would think of people like the Pale King. They are cosmic horrors. They are Kakiri level cosmic horrors, so we would be unable to really deal with them because we do not have the senses or brain structures. It really does change you when you are like that. You are not as human as you used to be. Mind is a function of brain. Go work in healthcare to see people who have had brain injuries, whether it is actual physical injury or stroke or whatever. When you change the physical brain, you change the mind. Mind is a function of brain. So what happens if your brain is a little bit different? Your mind is going to change because of that. It might be just minor, it might be major. If you have a 5% change to your brain structure, it might be just because there's variations in your individual body. But then you've got all the cryptid stuff and hokey smokes. When you have not just cryptid, but all these energies of different types, when you've got to have senses, sense receptors. You have to have connections in your brain for the new senses. That changes your brain structure right there. You have to have a portion of the brain to interpret that data. And then you need another portion of your brain to contextualize that data so it makes sense with everything else that you're having. By the time you do all that, it's not just a minor change. You have a major change. You're not really just that 5% like James Bakir, who goes from being human to cryptid, but they're 13th kind, so they have no cryptid programming. He's got his straight James Baker's mind in this body, which is just 5% different. There's changes in his mind, but they're not major because primarily it's just his body works different, he's taller, he's bigger, he's got a different type of jaw thing, his nutritional requirements are different, and so the body is different, so the brain is different, but these are not major personality changers. You may find things like, oh, your taste in humor has changed, or oh, your taste in movies, or yeah, I don't like beans anymore. Yeah, that's your mind melting around and changing its shape as your body has moved a bit. Mind is a function of brain, but James Baker goes by, of course, James Bakir now, because when he first changed into the cryptid, especially the 13th kind, and needed to devour human beings, he just changed that little bit. But he wanted to separate himself, and so first thought of himself as Bakir, but that... You're still human, and cutting yourself away from your humanity is bad, and he paid a bad price and almost paid a more horrible one for it. But he's not Bakir either, because he's not a different person. He's not James Baker physically who he was, so I figure he's going by James Bakir. He's both who he was and he's not. So he's not changed incredibly, but he's not who he used to be either. He's not James Lane Baker, but he's not Bakir. He's James Bakir. So working on all this stuff, doing my very best and trying to ride out the depression train. I got therapy today, so I'm going to be talking with my therapist about all this. Thumbs up. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab. I'm going to go through and thank the very few amount of people who left me comments in the past 24 hours. Thank you very much. Anything more than 0 is awesome and greatly appreciated. If I mispronounce a username, no disrespect is intended, and even though I count American Sign Language, well, with my depression, fibromyalgia, and all sorts of issues, oy vey. Getting better, but we're approaching that limit. Jocelyn Williams, thumbs up, and sensory overload is fun, is it not? You can never tell what's going to do the trick. Ice Damon, good to see you, thumbs up. Confused Owl 29, Hokey Smokes, and thank you. Sparkles, greatly appreciated. Ben B, thumbs up and thank you. Marcel, greatly appreciated. And Catalot, thumbs up and thank you all 7 of you who left me comments in the past 24 hours. You do get me out of my head and into the world, and if only for a short time, and in text, dealing with real people, and it is appreciated. Thumbs up and thank you. I do not know what device you're watching this on, so I do not know where the show more video description is, but inside I have links to all my various channels, as well as my Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and if you could become, once again, a Patreon patron like one of these beautiful and literally awesome people, that would be beautiful and literally awesome. I mean, oy vey, the cost of living in the United States is far outpacing the cost of trying to survive. I cannot tell and remember how long my hand should be up. Is far outpacing my ability to live in it. I'm on an extremely limited income from my disability, yay. So if you could become a patron, that would be extremely awesome. If you'd like to help me out without becoming a patron, I do have a PayPal link. And if you'd like to help me out without sending any money at all, I have an Amazon wish list link with stuff like canned food on it. So if you could check that out, that'd be awesome. Do not feel obligated. I do not feel entitled. And if you cannot or do not donate, I take all those good wishes that you have, and I do deposit them in the bank of my heart where I draw interest. I thank you very much. If you could toss me a like, I appreciate all the positive validation you get from my existence. And of course, if you could hit the notification bell on the subscription button, that would be very cool indeed. Yeah, so I have therapy today, so that's going to be like in just a little bit over an hour, and that's always harder to get stuff done afterwards, so we're going to see what's going to occur. Hopefully I can continue making the phone calls that I need to make, but we'll see. I'm still riding the depression train, so thumbs up on that. Yay! Hopefully you're going to be able to get the things done that you need to get done. That would be very cool. Definitely a thumbs up on that. And when it comes to the covfefe bug, you know what's going on. You know the precautions you need to take. Please take those precautions. We are alive for such a short time, and then we are dead forever after. Don't check out early, please. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is, well, a very good thing, I think.